Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rangers Respite. I'm Philip, and today we're talking about one of the entrants in the Virginia Whiskey Tournament, one of 54, but we're in about 5, so I'm talking about Axe Handle Distilling from Pennington Gap, Virginia. It's run by the same folks who run Old Virginia hand-hewn log homes. They've been building hand-hewn Appalachian-style log homes for the last 40 years, and they have taken the care and dedication to details from their business building homes and put that towards their whiskey. It is distilled in Indiana. My understanding is, based on flavor profile, that it is MGP, but it is very definitely blended to a different flavor profile than any other MGPI high rye bourbon that I have had. And right at the top, before I actually really get into the weeds of tasting this bourbon, I need to make sure that you are aware that per FCC guidelines, I am disclosing that this bottle was provided to me by the fine folks at Axe Handle Distilling. That said, what you are going to get is the truth. I make no promises to anyone who offers me a sample that my review will be totally positive or glowing. What I promise is honesty, because my responsibility is to you. It's also to the people who provide samples, but primarily to you. And the goal of this is to bring attention to Virginia craft distilling, and I wouldn't be able to do that without your help and without the help of the fine folks at Axe Handle Distilling. So, let's talk about this. It is MGP, or I'm pretty sure it's the MGP high rye recipe, which means that it's 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. On the nose, it's got that sort of slight mentally note, the bright, shiny grain of corn, because corn does have a sort of bright, shiny characteristic, or at least to me it does. It's got a lovely sort of bittersweet oak note that sort of wraps around the nice bourbony core. There's definitely some vanilla in there and a little bit of charred oak. On the nose, it is very reminiscent of fresh fall foliage, not the stuff that has begun to molder into the dirt and decompose, but the real fresh, just beginning to crisp up leaves. On the palate, the oak comes to the fore. It's surprisingly heavy on that charred barrel. The it's a nice, rich, charcoaly taste with that bittersweet oak bite. A little bit of vanilla, but not too heavy on that. And it's got that sort of mentholy mint and that nice, rich, sort of like a not quite peanut brittle, but very slightly nutty, caramelly ish sort of core. The finish is fairly short, almost unfortunately, because it develops very nicely. It starts off with that very strong, bitter oak, which rounds and mellows into a sort of butterscotch and pecans. Butterscotch and pecans. Just a hint of a mentholy vegetal note. Pretty good. I think that I'm ready to tell you what I think of it in a more concrete sense. As some of you may know from reading my other reviews, or perhaps watching my old videos, I don't typically give I don't typically give numeric scores. I find that they don't really give a good picture. So instead, I ask and answer 3 questions. The first of which is, do I like it? And I do. Setting aside the fact that I do already enjoy the MGP products to a fairly large degree, I do genuinely enjoy this. I think that it is very definitely carefully blended to a flavor profile that is as unique as you can manage within the bounds of a high rye bourbon. Um, and I think they do an excellent job of that. Is it really totally unique? No. Within the confines of bourbon, you can't really get too out there. Not without basically making it no longer a bourbon per TTB regulations. Do I think that it's a good value? Yes, absolutely. There is no two ways about it. You aren't going to really find you can find a lot of bourbons on the shelf of a comparable flavor profile for a little bit less, but for that little bit more, you're getting an interesting, fairly unique flavor profile. You're supporting a local distillery that will continue to do new and interesting things far into the future. And that's really the key here, is you're not just buying a bottle of bourbon, you're supporting an entity that will continue to do new and interesting things going forward. And I think this is well worth the investment, just because I find it on its own to merit the cost, and I find that the support of a craft distillery only adds to that. Which brings me to the final of the 3 questions. Do I recommend it? And the answer is yes. If you live locally, especially, if you see this on shelves, I recommend picking it up. It is available through via ABC, and I think that it should merit your consideration. Now, having given my thoughts, and with the caveat of, as good as it is, I'm most interested in seeing what they are going to be doing in the future, because they are still young, and that is important to understand. There will be new things from them coming down the pipe, and what you're paying for is the opportunity to see those things as they come into fruition. And with that all said, they're in bout 5 of the Virginia Whiskey Tournament. I would really appreciate it if you voted, whether it's for Axe Handle or one of the other competitors. There are a lot of great distilleries in the bracket this year, and I can't wait to get to the finals and see who's there. Links to vote will be in the description down below. I'm running the polls on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is a little bit tricky. You gotta look down at the bottom of the description/caption and click the little vote. And then you can pick the distillery that you would like to vote for. If you would like to see more of what I do, if you would like to support me and help support Virginia Craft Distilling. I'm selling items on Etsy, handmade pens, maybe some bowls, all hand turned by me. I'll have a link in the description down below. And if you would like to interact with me, I spend most of my day not exactly super active on Discord, but I'm in the Whiskey Lodge Discord server. Swing by. It's a great place to chat to other people about whiskey and other related and totally unrelated things. With all that said, until next time, stay happy, stay geeks, sláinte.